My name is Gabrielle, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Money with Friends. Every Wednesday, we have the privilege. It's really a privilege to come to you. I've heard that folks say that they're watching from home, from work, in their cars, they're driving, but they're listening to us and also to the replays. So we are encouraging you tonight to share with your friends, make a comment and like. If you like what you're hearing tonight, please like, because it's important. It's great to encourage others who are doing great things. And we believe that we always say this show is timely and relevant because we do want to tackle issues and topics that are relevant and timely to you and for our society. So tonight's topic, of course, it's you matter. Why is it important? Now, on a show like this, where we want to talk about money, why would we want to talk about you? Because money encompasses everything. Without you, there is no money. Okay, you are the real currency. You are the real currency. You are more valuable than a checking account that has a lot of money, or even an investment portfolio. Because at the end of the day, without you, all those things mean nothing. So it's very important that you invest in yourself. And in so doing, you will yield exponentially, not only for you, but also for society at large. So you matter. You matter a lot, not only to yourself, but also to our society. We don't want you to take a back seat because when you shrink back, the world does not get to benefit. So tonight, we're going to be talking about, we're going to answer a few questions and we're going to have a really in-depth discussion about how you can go about learning more about you and how you can learn how to maximize your own potential so that you can not only help yourself, but help the world around you. So without further ado, I would like to introduce, oh my gosh, all my friends who are here tonight. These ladies are awesome. You guys know you are awesome, right?
Thank you, Queen.
Say yes. Yes, yes. Ladies are awesome. Well.
Yes.
Dawn, and I have Odessa, and of course Lisa. And we always like to give an opportunity to kind of quickly introduce yourself so that folks know who we're dealing with. Because again, tonight we're talking about you. What about you? Why don't you go first, Dawn?
Dawn. I figured you would pick me up first.
Yes.
I'm Dawn. My name, they call me Queen Dawn Spirit. They call me Dawn Spirit or just Dawn. I chose wise. The name was picked for me, Dawn, for a reason. So I wanted to add to it. And that's where I got Queen Dawn Spirit. Spirit is my riding name. I used to ride motorcycles. I'm actually in a motorcycle organization. I'm a grandmother. I'm a mother of a retired Boston firefighter. I have 3 biological children and 4. I have 4 stepchildren, and we're a blended family, so we have 15 grandchildren. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I'm a past life regression therapist. I'm a future life progression therapist. I'm an AO body scan technician. And I am also an officiant and cardiologist. So I wear many hats, and I wear these hats because I want to figure out the most, effective way to help people learn how to heal themselves. So what Reiki might be for one person, but it may not be for someone else. The body scan may be for someone else. The past life regression may be for someone else. So I wear many hats, but my mission is to teach people how to heal themselves so they can learn, so we can help heal this world. Because once we heal this world, then we can have a better world. We chose to come here for a reason. And the reason is to come here to help heal this world. So everyone has a healing gift. It's just that we need to tap into that. And I am that portal to help people tap into that direction.
Yes. I just want to say before I forget, truly, as you were saying, you're a mother, you're a friend, actually you're a mother, you're a wife and everything. But let me tell you, Dawn, and I just want to say it again publicly, you are an awesome friend. You're an awesome person to be friend with. So that's definitely one of your characteristic of who you are. Odessa, you're welcome, hon. Odessa.
Yes.
I want you to introduce yourself. Yes.
Yes, I feel like I've done my bio on your program so many times. So I want to make sure that I add the stuff that I forgot to add last time and not leave anything out, because this is the day about me and all of us mattering. So yes, my name is Odessa Sanchez. That is my um, married name, but my birth name is Odessa. Um, and I'm also a junior to my grandmother. I'm named after my grandmother. So that name means so much to me because she was the matriarch and the pride of our family. And she was the one who we got all of our mentorship and all of our knowledge and all of our culture from, and basically taught us how to be us as a family. So having her exact name meant so much to me for so many years because my maiden name was Odessa Franks. Our names are exactly the same. And when people would call us out, they would say Little Odessa and Big Odessa. So I always saw a visible reflection of myself because I said, wow, this great woman, she does so many things. She smells so good. I just wish that I'm just a fraction of what she is when I get to be in her time. So it's just been great to grow up with my name and just always having that shining light, because when I would hear the name, I can't help but think of my grandmother. And it really warms my heart. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, I love it. So I've always felt that a name is important. And so, I've always written my name out in full. I really think that nicknames are cute and they're affectionate, but I do feel that a person's name is important to them, and that when we're introducing ourselves or when somebody is referring to us, we need to always hold true to how you want to be referenced. And, I'm a firm believer in correcting somebody if they say your name wrong. Like, it's not Vanessa, it's not Odetta. And, some of us are shy about, interrupting somebody or correcting them or letting them know that you don't like to be referred to as something. So I feel like whether it's a nickname or it's your full name, whatever name you want to go by, and if it's your name that you have named yourself, or if it was your birth name, it's something that belongs to you and that it's important. So we all need to respect that. So that's like A1 that I love. And currently,
Yeah, I agree with you. Odessa, I just want to go to Melissa for a quick introduction. But
yes,
it's so important because your name, I've always thought that Gabrielle was very special for me because it was given to me by my dad, but also to when I think about the definition, what it means, and I felt like I've always been a Gabrielle, so I like it when people do call me Gabrielle. But every once in a while, when folks call me like Gabby or G or Gab, I'm okay with that too. But I do like mine, the Gabrielle. What about you, Lisa? Well,
Um,
you go, Melissa, Lisa.
I'll make
What don't
mine
you do?
quick. Lisa is more of an affectionate name that I have, and I like it. I also like my full name, Melissa Charles. I am now married, so Worthy's my last name. But apart from that, I am many things. I am a friend. I am a sister. I am a confidant. I am someone who helps small business owners with their social media presence. Um, and I feel like for me, a part of me is being caring and giving to the people that I love and care for, and for people that do need help. So that's just a little bit about me.
And let me just say, I was over your grandmother's house. And way before, I mean, I've seen Melissa and we've been working together for a while, but as a client, relationship. But I went to your grandmother's house for dinner, I think, one time, and she was like, Melissa, if you want a young person to help you, call Melissa. And I told you that, Melissa, right? She
Yeah.
thinks so highly of you and your entire family. So I'm very happy that you're all here, and that I'm very happy that we all get to have this conversation, because the idea of you, why do you matter? And why is it important to understand your place in this world? And I think it was Dawn who mentioned that. Like, if you don't know your place, how does that affect you and also all of us? So Dawn, like, why is it important for people to answer these three questions? Who am I? Who are you? Why is it important to understand that and to be able to verbalize that, not only to yourself, but also to the world? Who am I? Who are you? Oh, sound, you're on mute.
Knowing who you are is standing in your truth. Knowing who you are is standing in your truth. It all comes from within. So if you don't believe in yourself and love yourself, how you can expect someone to believe in you and love you if you don't believe and love yourself? You know, so many times people get into these dead-end jobs and they're miserable. They're absolutely not happy. They may be making 6 digits a year, but they're not happy and they're stressed and they got to go to the doctor and they got to get all these things looked after because they're not taking care of themselves. If you take care of yourself and you love yourself and know your truth and know who you are, then you can't let lower vibrational people tap into your energy.
Correct. And I've heard people said like, you know, when you say, who are you? Oh, well, I'm a child of God. I'm blessed. You know, there are a lot of, you know, little things that people say all the time. And sometimes they're just repeating what they've heard before. Why is it important to actually be true to yourself and define yourself for yourself, not just by what you've heard other people say? Why do you think that's important, Vanessa? Like, when you define who you are, why is it important to actually take the time to do the work and not just be repeating, I'm a child of God, I'm blessed, I'm this, because you've heard it said so many times, like at church or other environment?
Yeah, so to back up what you just said about defining yourself instead of as others define you, I feel like that's very important because we definitely know that there's labels that are placed on people and we cannot trust those labels. From the beginning of time, people have, they said wrong things about Jesus. They said wrong things about Muhammad. They said things about people who were destined for greatness. Only so saying that would, one, turn supporters against them, and also because words are power. So once you spit that word out, it's heard. So it's either you're spreading lies and gossip about a person so you can diminish their following, and you're also saying it so that person hears it, and then they can start to self-doubt themselves. And I think it's very important to never let anybody else's definition of you define you. Once you sent me the talk tonight, it brought me back to when I decided that I knew who I was, and that was when I was in high school, because I was always a very self-motivating and confident child, and that always worked really well for me. My outgoingness, my assertiveness, and I was generally complimented for that during my childhood until I was a senior in high school, when a guidance counselor, and we talked a little bit earlier before the show about how teachers mold us, but teachers can also they can also criticize us wrongly, and they can also spit poison to us that can really damage a child's self-esteem. And I had a guidance counselor who wasn't even my guidance counselor, but she was a counselor at the school. But she felt the need to write me a letter about myself because she thought that my confidence was too much. And so she wanted to take me down a notch. And she felt, and this is a grown woman who felt the need to tell a 17-year-old that her feelings of entitlement will never get her anywhere, and that she needs to learn how, meaning me, needs how to stay in my place and know, like, you know, that I can't, that things are not always going to go my way. And just the attack that it was to me, I felt the need to save it. And so I did. It's addressed to me, had my name on it. And she literally wrote me a letter. And I saved it because when I read it, I know exactly what I'm not. I know what I am and I know what I'm not, because I know that the letter was written out of vengeance, and it was written to try to tell me not to believe in myself and not to be a confident person. And I said, no way, this person's not going to win. And I've been always true to myself, and I've always been happy because I never let that get to me. And it actually was a driving point for my life, that somebody actually felt the need to tell me that.
Yeah, that's so awesome, because we were talking about it in high school, because I came here for high school, and I remember Lisa coming in not knowing the language, but of course already knowing who I was. I came already prepared for them, for all of them. So I was like, when kids, or some of those not all put together professors would say, or teachers would say something, I'll be like, no, 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 no. You're not talking about me, because I had been told in elementary school by some awesome teachers who did look like me, of course, how awesome I was and how dedicated I was, committed I was, and I wasn't gonna let the lie. So, what about you, Melissa? You like the youngest here. How have your life evolved from like elementary school, high school, and even college as you defining who you are?
Oh, there's plenty of that. And it doesn't always happen necessarily in the high school. I did have a professor in high school who did something similar, an English teacher, as a matter of fact. But more importantly was my first corporate job, one where you're having a steady position. So I was always confident, knew where I wanted to go, had a vision, and kept on going for it. And then when I was in my first corporate job, I would say maybe second corporate job for a long while, and I got promoted. There's things that you learn, things that from naivety that can cause you to maybe have a shift in that focus, or a shift in those feelings about yourself and what you're capable of doing, or you may lose that focus, but you can always regain it. And I think that's a strong place to kind of start there. It was I was working in a space where I was one of a handful, not even in the whole entire building, and also dealing with different challenges in that aspect, and not understanding certain nuances, but slightly. And only after you leave that you have that kind of, oh my God, this is what they were doing, either job salary discrimination, having you do a lot of work for not the right pay. So certain things that you don't realize till after the fact, you're like, wow, did that really happen? But you have to kind of reshift. Look at where I've been able to be, being an assistant director at only 25 years old in a role, for them to know that I could do the job, even if they were using me. That was a driving point, that even when you do get down, you're able to pick yourself back up, for seeing the strength and resilience that you've been able to have to persevere through all the challenges, that most people might not even be able to have the strength emotionally to be able to go through. So knowing who you are in that aspect, you're able to see, wow, look at what I can do. If you take some of the negative things that happen and then shift them to say, okay, if I've been able to get through this, I can get through anything. So those are some of the things that where people can get down, people's self-esteem can be altered, but only for a time. Nothing stays the same, and you have the chance to rebuild yourself and to build that confidence again. So that's one thing that I would say in that aspect, is that once you know who you are, no one can take that away from you or take your peace away as well. And you're able to respond in a peaceful way to those types of attacks.
Yeah, I think it's so important what you're saying, like learning, because in every area of your life, whether you are an elementary school child, I had two nieces living with me for a minute, and I remember them going through difficulties, like the bullying at school, and you had to remind them at home, like who are you? Remember who are you, so that you don't have to worry about what somebody else is saying about you, right? And then when I was for kids who are in high school, junior high, or even high school, such a hard time, because you're trying to figure out who you really are, and you're trying to kind of determine, like, what am I here for, and all this stuff, right? And then you have the external factors, people coming at you, like some of them, like you said, adults. You're a child, and you have adults coming at you, like they're coming with negativities, they come in with all sorts of criticisms, and you're like, why me? Why me? And it's just being afraid to, especially if you are a person of color or a minority and you're doing well in a classroom or something, people have issues with the fact that you are assertive, and that you want things. And unfortunately, for some of us who did not, who came already knowing who we were, it's very difficult for them to kind of crush you. So learning who you are is so important, because the world will have a definition as to who you are, but you have to know for yourself, my innate, who am I really? And you have to be able to define yourself. And once you know who you are, the key is to, of course, as you becoming more and more better of you, because you matter. The topic tonight is you matter. And if you matter, it's so important to know who you are. And then the next question is, what do I want? Because that's another thing that will be a driving force behind you standing true to yourself, right? True to yourself. How do you make that? How do you take the time to define or to decide for yourself what do you want, Dawn? Because it's so funny, when I was in high school too, one of my favorite teachers was my Latin teacher. And in her classroom, she had a poster. And that poster, I don't even remember much about Latin, but I remember how she made me feel, right? Mm-hmm. And also too, I remember that poster in the classroom, and it was like a poster. There are three types of people: those who make things happen, those who wonder what's happening, and those who watch it. So how do you decide for yourself, what do I want, Dawn?
If it's in harmony of who you are, if it makes you happy. A lot of people are still trying to figure out who they are, what their mission is. But it all starts from within. And we have to start learning how, especially as women, how to straighten each other's crowns out when they're not feeling well. They're not feeling their best. We have to speak love and light and truth into our children, our small ones. From the time my kids were small, because my mother was the stern one and my dad was the loving one. So I always look forward to seeing my dad, because he spoke loving things to me. He kissed me, he held me, he hugged me. My mother wasn't a Philly touchy person until now. So I knew with my parents, what I wanted from my parents, I embedded in my children. Like when they were laying down and they were young, and they're now in their 30s. I have a 42-year-old, a 38-year-old, and a 36-year-old. And when they would be in bed, I would look at them and I would caress them and love them and tell them I love them. And I don't care who they want to be, as long as they're being the best at what they can be. They can be a janitor, they can be a firefighter, they can be an attorney, they can be an accountant, they can be a police officer, they can be a doctor, whatever they chose to be. Just make sure what you're going to be the best at it, and not to compete with others. Your only competition should be yourself. Because when you are competing against other people, it can cause lower vibration, and it can cause negative energy, and it can make people think that they're less than. And when those instructors are not, I'm sorry that you guys went through that, but when your instructors have spoken down to you and tried to water you down, you never should ever water yourself down for nobody, period. You're always supposed to tap into who you are. So I've had teachers do that to me, tell me that I wasn't this, I wasn't that, and I couldn't handle this, and I couldn't have it. When I built my first $500,000 house by myself in my name on an acre lot, when my family member saw it, told me it was too rich for their blood and was too rich for mine. It took me almost 2 years to get in that house because I didn't believe. But it starts with believing in yourself and loving yourself, and we have to teach that to our children. Because the first 7 years of a child's life is extremely crucial, because the first 7 years of a child's life, they're still in that subconscious state of wave, hypnotic state of mind. So
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
I say that just in general, my parents, I would say especially my father, instilled confidence in us, wanted to learn what my opinions were on things, on different topics, and nurtured that. And I highly believe that any parent that instills that you are beautiful, you are smart, you are capable, those types of affirmations to their children, it does stay with them. Even if their parents change later in life, those 7 years or 10 years, those first years of are very important, and they are very effective. It's true.
Yeah, going back to, what do you want? Just being able to, like, without that foundation, it's sometimes very hard to know what you want, because again, not only will the world tells you who you are, but also to, uh, this is what you should want. This is what you should want. Why is it important for you to know for yourself? What is it that Gabrielle wants? What is it that Odessa wants? What is it that Dawn or Lisa wants? Why is it important to know it for yourself? Because again, you'll have people in leadership position, people are in, higher position, not so much leadership because the leader leads, right? But in a higher position telling you, well, you shouldn't go for this, you shouldn't go for that. This is not within your reach, right? So
Can
why
I
is
say
it important to know what you want?
I need to say this real quick before I forget. And
Keep it
I'm
open.
sorry, I don't mean to go in on your time.
Oh, Ari's about to come.
They teach these teachers, they teach them in education to teach you guys that information, to teach you that lower vibrational crap. And hurt people. And when those people said what they said to y'all, is because they saw in y'all what they wish they had in themselves. So
Yeah.
remember, to be honest with you, there's only one race. There's the human race. But divided, we fall. United, we rise. So if we all got out of this race, I'm this race, I'm that race, I'm this race, I'm that race, and say, I am a woman. I'm a loving woman. I love me. And if we could just stop characterizing ourselves all the time, other than that we are a man or we're a woman, we can live a much easier lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, going back to, knowing who you are. And that's a work that you have to do on a daily basis. Like earlier today when we were coming on, I said, oh, today is a tough day because I don't feel like myself, right? But again, we were saying, no, it's all about perspective. And before I went on, Dawn was saying like, oh, Gabrielle, let's bring better energy. And it's awesome that you gotta do it every day to know who you are, but also what you want. No, it's not enough to say, I want this, I want that, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a speaker, I want to be a nurse, what you want out of life, I want to be a mother. You got to do some work. Why is it important that you invest? Again, like when I had posted, in terms of like, you matter. And you matter also means like, who you are, but how much do you invest in you so that you can become every single day someone who is not only valuable to you, but also to the world around us. Why is it important to invest in oneself? Lisa? Oh, Odessa, one of you. Go ahead.
Well, I think that deciding that you are a work that deserves the tooling and the time and the building every level, it's important. And these are things that can't be rushed. So I feel like you have to visualize it. I truly believe in, if you see her, you can be her. And I think that vision boards are important. Before vision boards were a thing, I used to make my own little books. I would take old big picture albums with like the clear little paper where you'd smooth it over and the paper underneath was kind of yellowish. I would peel open the thing and I would cut little magazine clips of like outfits that I thought was cute and like Jet magazine. And well, I used to get Junior Jet. And then I would go to like all the magazines that I liked and I would cut out pictures of everything, not just clothes, of like a fancy sculpture or a makeup kit or anything that I liked. And I would cut it out and then I would place it on the page so I could just flip in just whenever I was feeling down, I would just look through it. And I always liked opulence. Like I love things that were rich and just like of color and jewels and just, I always said to myself, that's like my royalty, is just to look at fine fabrics and fine things and baubles and things that shine. And even as when I became a mother, I just had my girls always in like glitter and dressed up in golds. And I just feel like I wanted to make sure that since I built up my own confidence and I invested in myself, and I found that to be investments, I used to look at that as my property because I visualized it. So you couldn't tell me that I didn't have those things because I already had them, because I was constantly looking at those images and I was seeing myself in them. And I said, I can have that. I never said to myself that they were unobtainable to me. And even if I had a version of it that wasn't quite as fine, to me, I had already reached that. And I passed that on to my children too.
Yeah, it's so important. That's why, again, we talk about creating a plan, having a vision board. On any given day, as I said, you wake up, you don't feel like yourself, you're still questioning, who am I? But if you have your goals, at least you can work on them, right? If you know what you want, at least you can work on them. And as you're working on them, all of a sudden you're developing, and you will be able to determine, slowly but surely who you are, because they do become who you are, like what you do, how you present yourself to the world. Because most people are more interested in shrinking back. They're interested in shrinking back because they feel like, whatever the world, whatever people have said about them is who they are. But the truth of the matter is it's been a lie. It's been a lie, and they don't know it's a lie. So they're holding on to it. But if you have written goals, like you said, and if you have a vision board and you know exactly what you want out of life, then it will be easier for you to achieve those goals. So we'll go to the next question, like, why am I here? So who you are, who are you, what do you want, and why are you here? What impact do you wanna, I love it when you introduce yourself. You said, I want to help small business owners, right? That's your mission in life, right? With social media, because you're young and social media comes very easy for you, whereas for other people, older generation, it's very hard, right? And you've done some investment in order for you to learn it even. So why are you here, Lisa? And why should we all know why we're here?
It's important to know why you're here. And sometimes it may take longer for others to find it and some faster. But I think appreciating that journey of knowing why you are here is the most important thing. That's all the challenges as well as the highs that you experience. One of the things is why is that you have a purpose. You were not created for nothing. You were not created to just exist. You were created to be alive and a living human being. And with that, everything that you do should always bring life. So whether it's a connection with someone, whether it's something that you have dreams to do and accomplish, it's a living thing. It's a thought that's living within you and it becomes to life. It's done and you can do another thing. So another thing is some people have gifts that they've been able to tap into, understanding and learning your gifts. And if there's something that you're not sure of, think about all the things that you do enjoy, the impact that you're having on other people. It could be something as small as within your family and then grow out and touch other people. So for me, I think purpose is just being alive and also living. How are you living your life, not just existing? So that could be something small in your daily routine and your connections with others. But you're here for a purpose. It could be in different ways. It's all in tapping to what you love to do and how that affects others and what kind of impact you're having.
Yeah. Definitely, we were talking about it offline regarding some people have the scarcity and lack mindset, and they're constantly projecting that on other people, and they're the ones who are always shrinking back or they're hiding information. I remember being friends with this person, and like something as simple as where to get a discount on something, they would hide it because they don't believe like there's like plenty to go around. It's such foolishness. And I think part of it is because the person doesn't know. If you don't know who you are and why you're here and what you want out of life, everything becomes something that you need to hold on to, because if I don't hold on to it, someone else is gonna get it and that person is gonna become me. Is it really possible? I mean, have you ever heard somebody else becoming somebody else? Odessa, like, really?
No, not necessarily, but I do think that people can take credit for the work that you have done. And people, if you are not confident enough to assert yourself and to make sure that you are in the room and you get acknowledged, you know, closed mouth doesn't get fed. Somebody will step over you, diminish your contribution. And so that does take away your existence. People could just say, oh, she really wasn't a part of this, or, you know, we're the ones who really did it. Oh yeah, she helped out a little. And whereas you were the one who was running the whole thing. I mean, I've been, you know, part of that myself. But I think that our purpose is to learn everything that you can learn. And that means from the person who's been there before you and who could show you the way, to somebody who is actually competing with you. Your competitor can also be your teacher, because it's going to make you better. And you're really in a competition with yourself, is to be the best person that you can be. But I definitely think that you acknowledge yourself first, and then you make sure that nobody takes credit for the things that you did, because you're learning. Whether you make a mistake or not, you've learned from that and you can move forward. But definitely get your acknowledgement and make sure that you're not diminished as far as your contributions to anything.
Yeah. It's so important, again, going back to the idea of shrinking back. You do not want to be shrinking so that other people, the poem says, other people don't feel uncomfortable around you. You know, knowing who you are is important, because again, at the beginning of the show, I said, you know, not only is it going to benefit you, but it's going to be the potential to really make a difference. We just had a birthday, MLK Martin Luther King birthday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, and we all there celebrating him. What a sacrificial man, you know. But in order for him to have been able to do what he did, he definitely had to take the time to define, who am I? You know, what do I want? Not only for myself, obviously for his entire community and the country, but also, why am I here? You know, and you know, of course, not everybody is gonna be recognized at that scale level, at that global level. But you know, what about the world that you live in? Your children, your community, your neighbors, you know, who you are really, because we all talked about the grandparents, and we just talked about, you know, our teachers, and we talked about all the people who have impacted us. And those people are living through us, and that's a legacy, and even the dynasty that they've left behind. And so a show like Let's Talk Money with Friends, we want to talk about money, but you know, I heard someone said, I don't know if it was Les Brown or somebody else, who said, you are the money. Because what is money without you? What is money without you? Because money is health. If you know who you are, you will invest in your health. You will invest in your mental, physical, and spiritual health. And yes, you know, I believe that you don't want to have anybody take away what you've done, you know, and you want to assert yourself. But sometimes, you know what? If you know who you are and you see somebody's trying to run in front of you to take credit for something you've done, I mean, we've all been there, right? Have you been there, Dawn? Like, you've done something and you're at the job and you've really done a great
What?
job, and you see somebody
Have I?
running in front of you to take credit.
Yeah.
What do you do?
When I first got into new home sales, it was in the late 90s. And it wasn't many of us in new home sales. And it was an opportunity to make a lot of money, but you had to know your craft. So when I worked for this particular company, it was an international company, so I don't want to say their name. But when I first started with them, I was the token employee. And I'm one of those that when I like something, I really get into it. And I learned as much as I could. And I learned everything I could about it, where I knew how to answer the females' questions as well as the male questions, where they're coming to have a home, a semi-custom home. And I'm talking about homes from when I started with this company, from 300,000 in the 90s, townhouses, up to millions of dollars to custom built homes in Virginia. And I was put in place after they knew how much I knew and how well I was doing well with the community managers. Then they put me in as an assistant manager. Well, when they put me in an assistant manager, they had me training younger people of other ethnic backgrounds, of other backgrounds, and to train them of what I knew. And then after they got everything they could out of me, after I trained everyone and they were rolling the way they wanted them to, is when they cut the plug on me. They pulled the cord on me, which was a blessing, because then someone else that knew me for my talents scooped me up and made me a community manager, right? Made well over 6 digits a year. You understand what I'm saying? Because they believed in me and they pulled me into that. And we have to really be careful, especially in 2022. And I know I'm kind of getting off a topic a little bit, but 2022 is really a really spiritual, powerful year. So you have to be careful what you focus on. Either you are going to be the victim or you're going to be the victor. Because for the next 10 years, you're either going to be the victim or you're going to be the victor. So yeah, we're in Mercury's in retrograde until February the 3rd. So some exes are going to come out of the woodwork. Some ex-friends, ex-girlfriends, ex-buddies, ex-bosses, people are going to come out of woodwork during this time period till February the 3rd. So it's careful that it's very important that we learn how to ground ourselves and not to react off of someone's actions.
Correct. And I like that. I think, again, going back to you matter. Why do you matter? Because it matters to you that you matter. And it also matters to the world that you matter. So important. We want to define ourselves. Who am I? Knowing it. Because again, whether you, like I said, wherever you are or wherever you are in life, somebody's going to come up to you and say, Gabrielle, this is who I think you be. This is who I think you are. But guess what? If you know who you are, you're not going to buy that story. You're going to stick to your story. And the same thing, what do I want? Because if you know what you want, you don't need to compete with other people. I mean, you compete with yourself. You try to hone your own skills. You try to maximize your own potential. Les Brown, I posted something earlier saying, like, there's greatness in you, not in them, but in you. You remember that. And why are you here? Yes, we've had jobs, we have this, but we all have a purpose, right? There's a purpose for being here. And you don't want to be associating yourself with negativity. Folks who are always, they say negativity is very contagious, right? The second a person around you is negative, you become negative too. And before you know it, you're not doing anything valuable to this world, because we all have 24 hours, right? If you're sitting on the phone, chit-chatting with someone who has nothing but negative to say, and really not looking for ways to resolve or make a difference in the world that we live in, you're going to have a problem. So again, it's not only important that you know who you are for you, but also for the world that we live in. This world is looking for you. There's something that needs to be done that only you can do. Only you, Lisa, only you, Odessa, only you, Dawn. There's something. And therefore, when you know that, when you've taken the time to invest in yourself, not only will there be an exponential return for you and your family and the ones who are around you, but also the world that we live in. Because we were talking about it. I work in a community where folks are getting on the attack all the time. You have someone who's like a general contractor coming to work with someone. Just because that general contractor doesn't know who he is, he, instead of creating love and spreading love, all he does is creating mayhem in the lives of other people. And whether you're a nurse, a doctor, whoever you are, if you don't know who you are, instead of adding value, you're gonna be taken away. So that's why it's very important to know that money encompasses everything, and you are the money. There's this song, I think it says, "You are in the money." You're not in the money, you are the money, because you can make and create. And without you, none of it means anything. So any last word, ladies, for tonight?
Money is energy.
Yeah.
Money
It's all energy.
is energy. Money is energy. We are all energy. These devices are energy. Your house is energy. Your energy. Everything is energy. If you put everything under a high power microscope, you will see 99% space We're just having a physical experience. So why not enjoy it to the utmost? Yeah. And stop being connected or letting these energy vampires that are hurting and don't know how to heal themselves suck the freaking life out of us. All right. We gotta stop that. We gotta stop that lower vibrational stuff, guys, because there's so many people waiting to just tear us down because they don't believe in themselves or they're jealous of what you've accomplished. Instead of being jealous of you, they should be happy for you because it's possibility they can have the same exact thing.
All right. They are able to have, because you know what? There's a need for more. There's a need for so many more to come out and say, I'm here. I want to stand in the gap. I want to make a difference. I've heard it said, I want to make a difference. When people want to make a difference, you cannot make a difference by yourself. Of course, we were celebrating one man on Monday, but he didn't do all the work by himself. It took an army. It took a village. So many men and women lost and fought hard in order for us to have the little bit that we've been able to accomplish so far. So the world needs you. The world needs me. The world is not only the entire world, but guess what? Your community, your family, your church, your school, wherever you are, you need to show up and be your best self because you matter. Anything else, Lisa?
Yes, you think in an abundance mindset, everyone brings something different to the table. No one person is the same. So you bring something unique to this earth, or else we would have all been clones. So there's something that everyone brings that's unique, and think in an abundant mindset.
Yes, abundance and versus scarcity. Odessa, the last word, please.
Yes, I just want to go back again that this week we are honoring the life and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And you know, if it wasn't about money, he might still be alive. I believe that his last speeches were geared towards uplifting the Black community to take financial stability and just to reclaim their own racial justice as far as financial, to fight systematic goals that were meant to keep us from being financially free. And he knew that that was where it lied. If we controlled our own finances, had Black businesses, supported each other, made sure that we went to school and made sure that we were able to own things and run things on our own, that we would get the civil rights that we deserve. And I think that's the reason why they could not have him still go on. It's because of the power that he had. But it doesn't matter. The message is still being spread by individuals that are knowing that that is our goal. It's just taking longer. It's 2022. And look at how we're saying buy Black now. These are all things that were said in 1968. So, I mean, these are things that we need to remember, that we have to be financially confident and independent. And that is our legacy as Black people in this country, and people, to be ourselves and to be financially independent. It's important.
Yeah, definitely. Earlier today, I had posted with my post for his birthday that courage is the new currency. And there's nothing more courageous than knowing who you are, what you want, and why you're here. You matter. Go make a difference because it matters. Thank you so much for your time tonight. We're looking forward to seeing you